linguistics this semester. Did you guys do any research about it? Because I did one research about bilingualism.
Oh, bilingualism. Yeah, that was interesting too. But I did some research on language and brain, and I thought that the most interesting topic was about the tip of the tongue phenomenon. What about you, Alieya?
Great. Talk about language and the brain. Recently, I did a research about Wernicke's Aphasia, you guys know. It's kind of cool for me.
Yeah, that is quite interesting. But mine is not from language and the brain, it's from second language acquisition.
Hello, ladies. I'm so sorry. We are closing now, so I hope you guys can leave early, okay? Thank you so much.
Hi guys! Hi, so we couldn't finish our conversation the other day?
Oh yeah, we had to leave. But we can talk now. Ayisha, can you explain to us about second language acquisition that you mentioned before?
Basically, SLA is the term second language acquisition. In a broad sense, refers to the learning of a non-native language after the first language has been learned either in a naturalistic setting or in a formal classroom setting. Can you guys explain me more about what is language and the brain?
As I did some research, I could say that the theme language and brain looks at the relationship between the human language abilities and also the neurological processes involved with them. It explores how language is acquired, processed, and represented in the brain. We ask questions like, how do the brain understand what we say? How do we learn to speak as we grow up? And also, how do conditions like neurological injuries affect our language abilities? So we can find the answers to all these questions by learning deeper into the theme language and brain.
So, as for what I understand about language and the brain is, language is by far our common means of interacting with one another, and it is from our brain that language and speech originates, and there are parts of our brain that are responsible for certain functions such as understanding certain words and sentences, while creating connected words remain relatively easy. Ayisha, you mentioned something about bilingualism the other day, so could you please explain more about that?
Let me explain to you guys about bilingualism. Bilingualism is defined as the speaker's ability to use two languages for communication. Since we live in Malaysia, most of us are known to be bilingual speakers because we speak two languages, which are Malay and English. SLA and bilingualism are closely related to because the process of acquiring a second language often leads to bilingualism. When individuals successfully acquire proficiency in a second language, they became bilingual. Bilingualism can emerge naturally as a result of SLA, particularly in contexts where individuals are exposed to and actively use more than one language. Let me tell you guys more about bilingualism. There is early versus late bilingualism. So, for a person who learns another language since they were childhood, they will often result in higher proficiency and native-like competence in both languages. But if you learn another language during your teen age or your adult age, your proficiency won't be the same level of native-like proficiency. And there is also subtractive bilingualism and additive bilingualism. Subtractive bilingualism means you learn a second language by not focusing on your native language. This means that you will forget about the culture, your fluency of your native language. But additive language means that you won't replace or weakening your proficiency in the first language. Instead, you will just learn the second language and become more fluent in both languages. Let me show you guys my real life example friends I use for my research.
So these are my real life examples. This is my bilingual friend and this is my trilingual friend. So tell me more about you.
Hi, I'm Afaf. I'm her bilingual friend. Malay was my first language, and I grew up later on learning English.
Okay, how about you?
Hi, I'm Musfira and I'm her trilingual friend. I grew up in an Indian household, so my first language is Tamil. Then later on I learned English at home too and learned Malay in school.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
As you guys can see, my bilingual friend, which is Afaf, she learned her native language when she was small, then she picked up English, and which she is so fluent, right? This is known as early bilingualism and also additive bilingualism. She learned when she was small, and she picked it up, and she's so fluent in English now. And also, she didn't forget her native language, and that is also good because she also knows both language and fluent in both. Trilingualism means a person who can communicate fluently in three languages. So my trilingual friend here, Musfira, she can communicate in three languages which are Tamil, Malay and English. Musfira tend to lose her fluency in Tamil because she's so fluent in Malay and English. This is known as subtractive trilingualism. She cannot be bilingualism because she knows three languages. And Musfira is fluent in three languages, but she tend to lose her fluency in her native language.
Wow, that is quite fascinating.
Oh yeah, first, could you explain to us more about what is the tip of tongue?
Sure, the tip of the tongue phenomenon, or known as TOT, is when a person knows a word but struggles to recall it at the moment. It occurs when you fail to retrieve a word or a term from a memory, even though you know what you're trying to say. So this phenomenon is actually extremely common and happens to everyone occasionally. People who are experiencing a thought state are likely to report the correct number of the syllables in the word, and they are also likely to correctly report the first vowel in the word. And when we ask them to produce the similar words to the target word that they are trying to remember, they mostly can come up with words that sounds like the target word. So, how is this phenomenon related to the brain and our language abilities? This tip of the tongue phenomenon is a temporary failure of phonological activation. And basically, your brain goes like, okay, let's choose an idea. Let's choose the words and concepts describing this idea. And now let's try to find the pronunciation of the concept. And that is where the failure happens. So when we experience this tip of tongue phenomenon, it shows us how brains store and retrieve words. There are actually several reasons behind this phenomenon. So one of it is interference, where similar sounding or similar meaning words block the retrieval of the target word that we are trying to remember. So also another reason is that when we try to remember the word, we actually didn't store it quite well in our brain due to the lack of attention and also lack of practice. Lastly, aging can also contribute to the tip of tongue phenomenon, as changes in the brain affect memory and also language processing. So, one example of the tip of the tongue phenomenon is when someone is trying to remember the name of an actor in a movie, but can only recall details about them, such as their appearance or maybe other movies that they have been in, without being able to retrieve the actual name. So, I want to show you guys one video of the example of the tip of tongue phenomenon that actually occurs in our daily lives.
What are those things called?
Oh, isn't it like a game? Right? There's like a game that you do beads, the beads, and the wooden thing.
Oh God.
Oh God.
So after you guys watch the video, you guys can actually see the frustration that we experience when we know the word but we just can't seem to remember it. Right? So this shows us that our brains store information in complex ways, and sometimes it's hard to access it when you need it. So Alieya, what is Wernicke's aphasia all about?
Well, Wernicke's aphasia or fluent aphasia, or also known as receptive aphasia, is characterized by a reduced capacity to perceive a meaning of uttered words or phrases, while creating connected words remain relatively easy. So, you guys must be wondering what is the relation between language and the brain and Wernicke's aphasia, right? So the basic concept of how our brain processes language includes Broca's area, which is the frontal lobe, and Wernicke's area, which is the temporal lobe. And Wernicke's area associates with our understanding of words and phrases, and damage to Wernicke's area may affect how our ability to understand phrases, words, maybe questions, simple questions like that. So the main causes of Wernicke's aphasia is stroke, brain tumor, and etc.
Hi Byron, how are you?
I'm happy. Are you pretty? You look good.
What are you doing today?
We stayed with the water over here at the moment and talked with the people for them over there. They're diving for them at the moment. They'll save in the moment. He'll have water very soon for him.
So, someone who is diagnosed with Wernicke's aphasia, they may string words together to form a sentence in a normal melodic line, but it will not make sense at all. And plus, they will make up words that has no meaning, and they would not even realize the mistake that they are making in a speech. So in that video, we can see that even like we ask simple questions repeatedly, not the same questions, but it was simple, the patient tend to make up replies that doesn't make sense and it's not relevant to the questions, right? if you guys notice. So treatment options should be tailored to individual needs, and seeking advice from speech pathologists is critical for successful treatment. And their speech are fluent but are laced with non-verbal jargon, and they struggle to understand written and spoken language.
So we've come to the end of our discussion. Before ending our call, I would like to summarize my point about bilingualism. Early bilingualism means learning a second language during childhood before around your age 6 or 7. Meanwhile, late bilingualism means that you learn another language during your adolescence or your adulthood. Subtractive bilingualism means that you learn second language but you lose focus on your native language. Additive bilingualism means that you learn your second language without forgetting or losing focus on your native language and giving both languages the same focus.
So, to sum up, the tip of the tongue phenomenon gives us a sneak peek into how our brains handle remembering words. It helps us see why sometimes we can't find the right word, like when the words sound alike or if we didn't remember them well in the first place. So, learning about this helps us understand how our brains work with language and memory. Knowing this might make us feel less frustrated when we experience it in our daily lives.
So, summing up, Wernicke's aphasia is a language problem caused by damage in the Wernicke's regions of our brain. And individuals that has Wernicke's aphasia may have trouble generating speech and understanding of simple words and phrases.
I think that's all, guys. Let's meet up again next time. Bye!
Inshallah, bye!